Pinhoti, 100-mile race. It is considered a classic race down here in the southeast. So it'd been on my radar for some time. Pinhoti, takes place down in Alabama on the Pinhoti Trail. It's about 13 or 14,000 feet of elevation gain total. So yeah, went ahead, pulled the trigger on Pinhoti and said, well, let's try and go get that 100-mile finish this year. Because of the time we got there, we had to drive down this dirt road a little ways. But it took several minutes to walk down to that start line, and we even ended up having to jog a little ways to get there, just right on time. Because, we got there so close to time, that was just, less time to think about it and less time to get nervous. So I guess that's the silver lining.
1 minute to go for 17, Daniel Pinhoti, 100. 30 seconds.
Yeah, night before race, all that. That went well. We all went and ate at Mellow Mushroom. We had pizza. It was delicious after dinner, but before we all went to bed, I got out, my kit, my clothes that I was going to be wearing the next morning, my bib. I got it all, together in like one physical spot. I mixed my drink mix in my bottles, all that. Make sure my gear was in my pack, make sure all my headlamps and stuff were charged, my watch was charged. I made sure I had the stuff in my pack that I was going to need to start the race and take me through at least the first point where I would see y'all during the race. Got in bed at, it was a little late, but not too late. Probably slept about 5 hours. It was a pretty good sleep for, the night before or something like this.
John Horner attempting his 18th 100 miler this year.
So yeah, morning of, before I probably woke up just 5 minutes or less before my 4:01 a.m. alarm went off. I never put alarms like right on like the evens. Like I wouldn't put it at 4 a.m. It's always like 4:01 or 4:02 or something weird like that. It's just what I do. And at that time, I could already hear, Jason milling around in there. He was probably like more wired up for this than I was, at least that morning. I just, that's the way he is. And, yeah, sometimes, I kind of err in the other direction and I'm a little lax when it comes to these things, sometimes to a fault, but usually it works out. Yeah, get up, just do the typical morning of 100-mile things, drink some water, eat a few Uncrustables, take in 200 milligrams of caffeine through an energy drink of some kind. Try to devoid your bowels as much as you can before you go and don't have a bathroom for tens of miles around you. Get dressed, just recheck your pack like 3 or 4 times. And just try to stay as relaxed as you can. So yeah, I think we ended up leaving the house. Oh shoot, probably before 5 a.m., like maybe a quarter till or so, if I remember correctly, somewhere in there, quarter till, 10 till 5 a.m. And we're driving around, we're going through first. Probably half of this drive is like, through just like, a small Alabama town. And then we turn off on this dirt road And that's when we realized why this draft took, the better was going to take better part of an hour. It was just this 1.5 lane dirt road like you would find off in like rural Alabama or even like somewhere in the South. Super dark, just bumpy and stuff. Um, that kind of thing. Kind of place you would expect to see some type of weird creature like a skinwalker. We didn't that day.
They say go, and the race begins.
So 2 aid station 1,
We're on 2.
aid station 2 to Shoal Creek. That's 13.13 miles in.
Before we saw you at Shoal Creek, we had to go get ice at the Sparkle Mini Mart. So I go in to the Sparkle Mini Mart, and I'm the only person in the whole establishment. And there's a lady. She's over there making like some sausage biscuits, and she sees me walk in, looks at me, and continues to make the biscuits. So I stand there and I give her the Jason glare, the one y'all see all the time where I'm impatient and I give the look. So I'm giving that look to her. I buy the ice. I go outside. The ice is locked. So I walk, and I watch her watch me walk outside to get the ice. I walk back in and I'm like, I need a key. And she's like, oh, a key. Anyway, we get your ice. We go to McDonald's, which was fortunately 2 minutes down the street. Got a healthy McDonald's breakfast. Will got like some sort of dessert coffee thing that he complained about having too much sugar.
You less grumpy now that you got food?
You got to be kidding me. Overpass, is that right? Aid station 3?
Aid station 2 and 3.
Right.
And then we won't see him again for 20 miles.
About an hour 15 minutes into the race, just under 5 miles. So far so good. Just trying to keep the effort nice and easy. Air temperature is cool, but it's pretty humid. So looks like it's going to be a warm and humid day later. But yeah, easiest hour of the race is over. This first section's been pretty runnable, so just trying not to overdo it.
The idea is to get most of the nutrition in the bottle.
I am. You think you can do a better job, you jump right over here. So you saw us at Shoal Creek. So how were we feeling at that point? I mean, you seemed, from a cruise perspective, you looked really good. You seemed like you were running your race exactly how you needed it to run. Is that a pretty fair assessment of how the race was going for you at that point?
was glad I didn't have to wait on a train there because I know some people did. Yeah, and at that point, it kind of felt like, I'd run a few miles, but, still feeling pretty fresh, feeling pretty good. Can't remember exactly what I took from y'all there. Probably just topped off on some water bottles. I don't know. Did I eat anything there? Maybe a bag of chips.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was a bag of chips, and then I think we topped you off on one of your Rocktanes. Anything special you do at the next one you can think of?
No.
We'll refill these and then we'll head that way.
See you on a few miles then.
Yeah, man. See you in a few.
If you need anything special.
Saw the guys about a mile ago. They'll take care of me. That's station number 3. See, I'm here in around mile 18. Terrain out here is pretty runnable. Elevation is mostly rollers, these punchy little climbs. So keeping the effort easy still. Try not to overdo it.
We saw you again at Horse Block Overpass or whatever that aid station was. Um, Basically, in my mind, other than the fact that I screwed up your chair, was there any other huge faux pas?
Let's talk about the chair incident and what happened there.
So, so first off, I brought the chair, and for some reason in my head, Will was like, "I want to bring some snacks for us." I'm thinking, well, Will's going to sit in the chair and have some snacks while we wait on you, because we knew we were going to be there far earlier than you were going to be there, and we were going to have some time to kill. So we get there, and Will goes to the top of this little like mini hill thing and is watching people run, and I'm standing there with the chair in the bag, and yeah, I kind of get caught up in like watching everybody come in, and don't even think about opening the chair at all. And then all of a sudden Will's like, "There's John." And so I was like, "Oh," so I go over to get you and then realize that I didn't get the chair out, because that aid station, the way it was set up, it was very chaotic and there was a lot going on. And so I was looking at everybody, and obviously I knew people there, even though I wasn't talking to hardly any of them. I would see people come in and I would say hello briefly, and yeah, I just neglected you on the chair.
Yeah, again, not the end of the world. I sat on the ground. It was fine. I sat in worse places during that race, but I think one of the funnier moments was when Will came over and I'm sitting on the ground. The first thing out of Will's mouth was,
I'm not sure why the chair's not out.
and so now until the end of our days, we know that Jason's going to be hearing about that chair from someone.
Yeah, so the freaking chair.
You got some water, straight up water.
No, but I can go there and get you some.
At that point, we're coming up on mile 19.
Water.
So we don't see you again until, what, 20 more miles?
Yeah. Be a little while.
At that point in time, there's approximately 4.5 hours elapsed, which was perfect because I'd drawn up a plan for a 27-hour pace, which was a little aggressive, but in my opinion, not outside the realm of possibility if I had everything together and had a decent race.
There was a pretty big gap after that.
Coming up on 6.5 hours elapsed. It's about 12:30 local time. The sun finally came out, so it was definitely warming up. Had to ease up on my effort a little bit to compensate. Could definitely feel myself starting to overheat a little, so just trying to take it easy, take care of myself, because at the end of the day, this is an endurance run. Just have to get it out of my head that maybe I'm not going to be hitting all my intended splits right now, because that's okay. The goal of these things is always to finish. And some days you just take what the day gives you.
So we'll just have, we can't lug off. I mean, if he's got to walk this way, then we should just bring him to the car, don't you think?
No, man.
So we go, we find a table, we get all the crap, we set it up. We're chilling like a villain. Hey, why don't you walk up and film it without the fence on it? So look at it. That's a great picture right there. And then we got that text message from you, and you were saying you were a little taking a little bit longer than you had expected. It was a little warm, and so Will and I immediately started going into, okay, he's hit his first rough spot. What can we do to take care of John? So Will's like, I'm going to make him every single meal we have here to eat. So I'm making him ramen noodles. I'm making him mashed potatoes. I'm having everything ready for him. And I look at Will and I'm like, he said he didn't want all of that. Will said, I don't care. I'm making every bit of it for him. I'm like, but I got my notes right here, Will. And I flashed it to him and I'm like, see, it doesn't say he wants all of this. And Will's like, I don't care. I'm making it for him. He's going to eat it. And I'm like, okay. And so that was what was going on behind the scenes while you were running that section of the trail. So what was going on with you running that trail?
Checking here, mile 35-ish. Still on this section between the aid station at roughly mile 28 and the one at 36. This section has been brutal, and it's absolutely beat me down. It's just been hot and haven't been able to really get in a groove. Also been a challenge to stay up on nutrition and keeping my energy up, but still moving here. Get there when I get there, but definitely gonna need a nice rest, and hopefully the amenities at this next aid station will help turn things around a little bit. Not feeling great at that last aid station, but they have mellow yellow there, and I drink a whole bunch of that. I'm gonna climb right now up to Mount Cheehaw, highest point on the course, just over 2,400 feet at its summit. Still about 600 feet to climb to get there. Looking forward to seeing the crew up here at the next aid station. So, still at it.
So at that point, we're looking at what, like 11 and a half hours roughly elapsed time. That sound about right?
Sounds about right.
11 and a half hours. Um, so yeah, definitely, feeling it a little bit then, but, not like, I can't keep going typing, just like, I have like, 40 miles behind me. Um, felt okay. Um, Felt significantly better after I ate every single piece of food that Will had cooked for me and offered me. I think Jason handed me some instant potatoes and I had him pour a Mountain Dew in there and mixed it together, and that was delicious. I can't explain it, but it was.
So, looking ahead, do you still want us to stick to the times you have on here? Or do you want us to push back a little bit?
We have to push back an hour. I mean, it's just what happens.
Yeah, I'm feeling good, but 40 miles into that.
You're fine.
I'm not going to make up that hour.
But yeah, I was kind of looking forward to at that point to, like, the sun dropping a little bit. And, while the nighttime is, usually difficult, I was definitely ready for a little bit of a respite from, like, the heat of the day.
Put your dirty clothes in this one. That way we keep everything separated.
Yeah, like I have
I'm just trying to keep your trying to keep the gnarly stuff.
fresh.
Yeah, the gnarly stuff
Tacos.
away.
Only the freshest tacos.
Well, I'm just going to run up here and fill up here with the water.
So yeah, ate all the food, changed shirts, just to get into, I don't know, something a little bit more fresh, at least, for a few minutes, and made sure I had all my illumination ready to go. And I think that's about it. I did sit there for a hot minute, but which, will politely reminded me of how long I'd been there, which I probably needed. But yeah, that's kind of how I was feeling there.
If you need something, text. If you can't, is there anything that you can think that you might want when we see you again? This gives us an idea on what to do for you.
Yeah, gotcha.
What to have ready for you. We just need to go tell you to fuck yourself or whatever you need at that point.
You would never tell me that.
No, I would never tell you that.
I would. That's my job.
Turn left on the road. So, from that point, this is going to begin the overnight section of it.
Okay, been a while since the last update. It's been dark for a while now. So thankful that it's cooled off a little bit. Still warm and super muggy, but better than it was earlier. Currently at about 53 and a half miles, I think. Not for sure, because at this point the miles are just made up. There's a pretty big discrepancy between much miles and the miles on the official race map, but still moving, feeling okay. Not moving as fast as I once was, but as expected, after somewhere around 15 hours. Obviously, with the dark, it gets a little bit difficult. Train is still mostly rolling, but this section definitely had some more
more difficult climbs. I mean, nothing just too significant, but there are a lot of like sections and stuff that would drop down towards creeks and then like straight back up out of them, and that kind of thing. Um, so yeah, we get to Hubbard. Um, they had like this like UFO alien type theme, which is kind of fun. Chandler Spring, which I think was a water only stop, which was by the railroad tracks. And I actually had to stop for a few minutes for a train there. Not too long, but that's definitely where I was really feeling just sleepy and tired. Even though, like, when I had my last drop bag at Adams Gap, I'd taken in, more caffeine.
Somewhere between 68, 69 right now. Nice. Been struggling for some time now, several hours. Still moving though.
When I look back on like, my times and stuff, through this section between Adams and all the way up to Porter's, I think that's where I ended up losing my most time. And I think part of it was I just didn't realize how much I was losing.
Checking in from somewhere around 71. Got out of the last aid station a few minutes ago, and right before that aid station, about a mile and a half probably, I finally just laid down and took a quick little dirt nap. I don't know if I actually fell asleep or not, but set an alarm on my phone for 15 minutes and woke up after about 8 to maybe 9.
When I woke up from that, I was significantly more alert. So I think that definitely helped out. And as I was getting up, I realized I had been sleeping on an anthill, and on top of that anthill was a very large spatter. No mishaps as far as that, but I was just like, well, that was cool. So I continued on. And while I was more alert, I was still fairly drowsy, middle of the night kind of stuff. And when I got into Porter's Gap between like 70, 71 miles, I heard someone say, you have 8 minutes. And it didn't really register to me what that meant. And so like I had an aid station. So I'm sitting there with like, my drop bag. One of the aid station workers there is helping me like refill my water bottles. And one of the crew members for another runner who hasn't come through yet, he walks up to me. He's like, hey, man, I'd probably stand up if I were you. You have like 4 minutes to get out of this aid station. I was like, whoa, what the heck? And that's when I realized just how close I was to like any type of cutoff. So coming out of Porter's Gap, crossed over the highway, and I knew this section headed up to Pinnacle was going to be have some pretty significant climbing. Some people out there said that this was the toughest climb like on the course, and in some regards it may be. I was just like, well, I was so close to that cutoff. I just need to move. Like whatever I can do, I just need to do that, but I just need to move as quickly and efficiently as I can. So I finally get up there. I'd passed several people on that climb who didn't look great or had opted to try to, sleep off by the trail. And I get up there and I see all the lights and I hear the music and I see the person up there. I see you two, and y'all are in a very urgent state saying, you need to move. And I was like, what? And they're like, no, you need to move. And I was like, all right.
Do you remember what happened between the aid station and when you sat down at the truck?
Yeah, like I remember you took off and asked Jason, like, how am I as far as like, the cutoff? And Jason said you're like seconds off of it. I can't remember if he said I was like over it by a few seconds or under it by a few seconds or what the deal was. But I remember trying to sit down so I could like eat some stuff and just, you know, replenish everything a little bit. And trying to fumble and find, my backup headlamp since the battery on the one I was using had run out. And then I remember that race official coming up and saying something that about having to be in front of the sweeper. Um, I can't remember seeing the sweeper. Was he there?
Yes, the sweeper was waiting
Okay.
on you.
Sweeper was okay. Sweeper was waiting on me. Okay.
The sweeper literally turns his back to you and starts talking to the race official to give you enough time to get a little ways in front of him.
Oh goodness. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't remember that at all. That's pretty wild.
Yeah. So we turn you loose. And at this point, Will and I are like, we're like trying to figure out like what's next. So we regroup, we sit up there for a minute, we head off a pinnacle, and we get to the next spot.
Yeah, I was a wreck. I was just, again, just trying to stay moving, as best as I could. It wasn't very fast, and man, I just was so spent.
Well, day's broken on day 2. Fortunately, things aren't looking very good right now. You're coming to the last aid station at Pinnacle, things are going to be close. But managed to come in there right at cut off. Within a matter of seconds of cut off. Fortunately, because of that, I wasn't really able to stop and rest and get fueled up very well. So
Going from, being so close to the cutoff at Pinnacle, then coming down, being told, I'm still in it when I get to Wormies, and thinking that maybe I can do this if I can get down to Bull's Gap. And then just as I'm getting down to Bull's Gap, it's a little bit longer than on my watch, as far as mileage than I think it is. And I can feel it slipping away, but I'm doing everything, I think I can to try to keep it within reach.
it's a beautiful morning out here, so just enjoy what's left of this. Whether it ends at the next aid station or the finish.
Sometimes when runners are so close to cutoffs, it can be a morale piece from the standpoint of it can really kind of let some air out of you, right? So we watch the clock and it's a couple minutes. A couple minutes turns to 5 minutes. 5 minutes turns to 10 minutes. Our anxiety, it really starts hitting in from the standpoint of like we're really worried that they're not going to let you go. Will already is already in salesman mode. He's already trying to figure out, he's already got the sales pitch on how he's going to get you, to where you need to be.
That's another reason why I didn't just quit. I was like, well, even if I'm a little bit over, maybe will be just a little bit of grace there. But, coming down and, seeing everyone gathered around there, seeing the clock, I was like, all right, it's probably going to end here. And, sure enough, everyone indicated as much. All I wanted was just to get there so then we could run it in together and then we could all share that finish line experience. And it really kills me that I wasn't able to get it done because of that.
Really wanted this one. And more than I need to share. To share this picture with the guys. As they say, do not go gently into that good night.